The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
You're listening to CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living. To learn more about who we are, what we do, and how we do it, call toll-free 1-866-928-3310, and we'll send you out a no-obligation information kit absolutely free. 866-928-3310. The CFRN Emini Futures cast is now on Stitcher. Listen to us on your iPhone, Android phones, BlackBerry, and WebOS phone. Stitcher is smart radio for your phone. Find it in your app store or at Stitcher.com. Stitcher Smart Radio, the smarter way to listen to radio.
Are you ready, Steve? Andy? Yeah! Bert? Well, all right, fellas.
You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Today's broadcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/CFRN. Over 85,000 titles. Choose from mystery, romance, religion, science, technology, business, New York Times bestsellers, even children's books. You name it, Audible has it. With 85,000 titles to choose from, you're sure to find the perfect audiobook for yourself or to give as a gift, and it's absolutely free. Just point your browser to audibletrial.com/CFRN. That's audibletrial.com/CFRN. And become a part of the audiobook revolution by downloading your free audiobook today. audibletrial.com/CFRN.
Hey, trader, want to get rich quick? Well, good luck with that. If, on the other hand, you actually want to learn how to trade, the place to be is www.cfrn.net. Tune in Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern for our daily devotional, and then spend the next 3 hours learning how it's done from professional traders who actually trade for a living. That's www.cfrn.net. Every trading day from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro, and even T-bills. Joining us today from our studios in Boston, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today's Friday, 8th day of May, 2020. Thanks so much for joining us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. If you can't see the screen I have up, go to our homepage at cfrn.net. On the right-hand side of the page, click the big microphone, follow the instructions. You'll be registered in about 30 seconds, and that will give you one-click access to the show each and every day. On the days you're out of the office, away from the desktop, point any internet-connected browser to cfrn.net/live, and there you'll find a live, real-time simulcast of the show as it unfolds. We also stream live during the show each day on YouTube, on Facebook, and Twitter. Now, the first set of instructions, where you go to our home page and click the big microphone, if you enter that way, that gives you access to the chat box, which allows you to ask questions during the show, and we do invite you to participate in the discussion. But of course, there will be days when you can't use that method, so just use one of the other methods mentioned. And let's open up with a word of prayer. Father, we are probably still hoping that we'll wake up from this bad dream, this coronavirus, but
we've been waiting.
Lord, it's here, and it's real. And as parts of this country start to reopen for business, as the world tries to get back to normal, or the new version of normal, whatever that looks like, we've put our faith, our hope, and our trust in you through this entire pandemic. And so now, as people return to the workplace, return to their lives, interacting with one another, we'll deal with all kinds of new situations and circumstances. And what we're going to do, God, is we're just going to continue to put our faith, our hope, and our trust in you every day, every step of the way. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, well, here it is, Friday already. If you were in the live trading room this morning, we had a great session. So to all of you that were able to come and take part in that open house, thanks for coming. And if you have any questions on what it takes to become part of the family, to become a CFRN passport holder, you can always check with Valerie. You can call her at 949-42-EMINI, or you can send an email to support@cfrn.net. Okay, on our daily chart of the S&P, we had a bearish cross back on February 27th at a price of 32.72. That took us down to the swing low on March 23rd at a price of 21.74. Buyers stepped in, rallied price up to the BBC, that's the green line, and when we approach it from below, we expect it to be good resistance, and it was. In fact, we tried 1, 2, 3 times to get through, couldn't do it, so we backed up, got a running start. With the help of blue and climbing, we managed to get above the BBC and close above the BBC. And then we just rode the back of blue and climbing right up to this area where we expected to find resistance. We did. Resistance sent us back to support at the BBC. That support sent us back to resistance. We managed to break through that resistance for one session, and then the following day we quickly reversed and came back down to the BBC. And we've just kind of been, walking sideways up until today. And today it looks like we could we're above red and flat. It's kind of buried there behind the candles, but let me open it up a little bit. There we go. So if this rally can continue, if buyers can continue to push price higher, we anticipate resistance right here where I've highlighted it. The next area for potential resistance is right here. And then above that, the price where this whole pandemic crash started, where we got that bearish cross That's an important price, important area. So price has its work cut out for it. Buyers have their work cut out for them. Rally up to resistance, get through that. More resistance, get through that, and then the big one. Okay. Now from a fib perspective, where are we right now? If we go from the swing high to the swing low, we can see that price has hit the 62% Fibonacci retracement from the high to the low. We're knocking on the door of that 62 right now. We spiked above it this one day and quickly got turned back down. Now we can also use our fib tool to go from the swing low to the swing high right there. Now that shows us areas that may potentially be support on a pullback, and areas where these lines overlap, like right here, that's a particularly strong area for potential support. So a pullback here to this about 2780. Okay, that would be the 50% reverse fib. It would be the 24% standard fib. If price doesn't hold there, then that brings us to the 38% fib, which, as you can see, is just above where we had the bullish cross, and that in and of itself is an important price, important area where we would expect the market to find support if it fails to continue climbing. Let me give you the numbers from around the world. These are the cash markets, the indices as they're called. We'll start here in the US. Currently the Dow is up 348 points. That's 1.5%. The NASDAQ is up 125, 1.5%. S&P 500 is up 38 points. It's 1.25%. And the Russell 2000 is up 39 points, which for the Russell is a gain of 3%. In the commodity basket, crude oil up 47 cents, trading 24.02 last. It's actually a gain of 2%. Gold down $9.50, trading 17.1630 last. In the Asian markets at the close, Nikkei posted a gain of 504 points, 2.5%. Shanghai gained 23, almost 1%. And the Hang Seng gained 249 points, that's 1%. And in the European markets at the close, FTSE up 82 points, 1.5%. DAX up 145 points, 1.25%. And the CAC up 48 points, a little over 1%. That gives us a green day in Asia, a green day in the UK, and so far it's a big green Radio Friday here in the US of A. With that, let's go to Michael and get a recap of what happened this morning in the live training room. When he finishes, I'll be back. We'll go over the Concierge Trade Alerts from last night and the Logic 247 alerts. And hopefully John got his system up and running, and we'll get a chance to chat with him today. So Michael, if you're ready,
I am ready.
Take it away.
I am ready. Hold on just a sec. Here we go.
Okay.
Now we had, the seminar, the webinar that we did this morning. Those of you that were there you know, that I did the first hour. I actually went over a little bit, and Dwayne did the rest of it. And then at the end, we did the spreadsheet and all that stuff like we normally do. You don't typically split it up like that in the morning session. But it was a really good session. For those of you guys that got to sit there and see the whole thing, and we will have a recording of it. We're going to post that recording. I don't know, but it'll be posted in Telegram, somewhere in Telegram, and we'll let you know when, if you weren't able to make it this morning. Okay, so let's get started. Good afternoon. Today is the 8th day of May 2020. It's Friday, the 8th day of May 2020. If you have not taken a free trial with us and you want to take a free trial with us, go to the homepage at CFRN.net. And right here it says free 5-day trial. If you click on that, do I have the other page open? Nope. If you click on that, it will bring you to this page, eminitrainingschool.com. And all we ask for is your name, your email, your phone number. You can fill this in so we can help you out better later on for the one-on-one training. Hit the send button and you'll be sent a confirmation link. You must click on that confirmation link. Okay, if you don't click the link, we don't know that you took the free trial. So you got to click the link. Okay. Okay. Let me go back here. Now, today, we only traded an hour, and I'm going to go over all the trades that we did in that hour and all the trades that set up, because I only took 3, and there were probably 15 that set up. But we made 30 ticks in crude and 10 ticks in gold. That put us at plus 400 on the morning session, on the half morning session. And today it took 25 minutes and 2 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up $100 a contract. And we took a total of only 3 trades today. So on the month now, we're at 1,667. That's over 6 days, averaging $277 per contract per 2-hour day. On the year, we're now at $32,002. That's over 84 days, averaging $380 per contract per 2-hour day. All right, now I'll get into what we did, what we didn't, and all that. Okay, for the first hour. Well, a little more than the first hour. Okay, right here was our first trade. This is where we got the gold for the day. We picked up 10 ticks right there on gold. Right after that, there was a follow-up trade right here that you could have done, would have been a break even. There was a trade here that I missed that would have been profitable. Here that I missed, it would have been profitable. Here that I missed, it would have been profitable. How many times am I going to say that? 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. And then Dwayne took over and gold tanked. Gold totally tanked. Now in here, there were really nice trade setups in here, but you could have shorted there, 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 not there. But there was just a ton of opportunity this morning, and we only took 3 trades, but we were up $400 on those 3 trades. $400 a contract. There. There was just so much opportunity this morning in gold. All right, in all the markets, really. The euro, we didn't take a single trade in, but of course we did miss a trade. We missed this short right here and this long right here. Let me keep looking. There was a short right there. And then it got pretty sideways. It's looking like it's going to set up a short right now, but I'm not sure if it will or not. All right, in crude oil today, we had one really big trade. This one right here. I went short there and got out way down there. 30 ticks profit. Oh, look. No, there was another trade, a break-even trade. I forgot. We had a break-even trade here at the beginning. We missed that trade, and that trade, all which would have been profitable. And this one would have stopped out, I think. But I probably wouldn't have done it because it's a head and shoulders pattern, and we needed to break the neckline. And over here during the break, there was an opportunity to short right there. Okay. And the ES, we didn't do anything with the ES today. But let's see why. Can you see why? It's all jumbled up. Was there a trade setup in here? Was there a trade setup in here? No, no, no. Still no. Still no. There were just no trade setups this morning on the ES. Not the normal trade setups that we do in the room in the morning. Okay. It's looking like it might have one right now, but it'd be the first one today. Was it fast to get in at the right spot? Hang on. Let me go look and make sure that we're talking about the same thing. This one. No, it was not fast to get in at the right spot. It actually pulled back about 5 ticks. So you could have gotten in at a better position, actually, on the pullback, Brad. And no, 24.1 was my entry point. Which big down move? Over here? There were so many spots to enter on that. You could have entered here. Now, the thing about this, Brad, these are range bars. And so if you know where the top of the bar is, you know the bottom of the bar is going to be. So you can be proactive if you're expecting, you get this kind of separation down here in the slingshot, and you're trading below the BBC. The BBC is the green line. You're expecting a short. Okay. So when you see it start to set up like this, if you know where the top of the bar is, and blow it up some for you so you can see a little better. If you know where the top of the bar is, you know what the bottom is going to be, because these are range bars. So, the top of this bar right here, 27.2, the low is going to be 26.8. Okay. So you can put a sell stop on at 26.7. So you give up 1 tick, but you get in a trade. And you could have stayed in it the whole time. Just trailed your stop. I wouldn't have. I'd have gotten in multiple times. I didn't actually do that because, because we did the split today, and I was trying to walk my dog, but she took both of her leashes and went back home. But I mean, the answer to your question is no. It was not too fast to get into the right spot. Okay. Hang on a sec.
I did speak with John, and he got his system up and running again, so he is going to join us today.
Good. Okay. But no, there was a ton of entry opportunities on the way down right here. Now I'm just eyeballing it and I'm pointing them out to you. But there was one there. One here. One here. One here. one here, and then the cycle started going up too steep. So no, there was plenty of opportunity to get into that trade. Not all of them, all but one are momentum trades. Okay, this one right here was not a momentum trade. Okay, this one right here was not a momentum trade. Okay, but all the other ones were. So you take your risk off the trade right away and let it ride. And you know, if you trailed your stop by, I don't know, by 4 ticks, you would have gotten in here and then trailing your stop behind the black step line or the MA1, whichever is closest to price, you would have gotten out down here, right here. And then you could have gotten in again right there. Okay. Okay. All right. Does anybody else have any questions for me? I mean, if you're not a partner, you're not learning how to do this right now. I mean, these are unprecedented times. You know, I placed 3 trades this morning. I was up $400 a contract, and we split the morning up, and I was still up $400 a contract. You know, right now is when you need to learn how to do this and just start making money while you're at home. Because this whole COVID-19 thing, it's going to happen again. You know, it's not going away. So, just my thoughts. All right. And with that, let me go here, show you the spreadsheet again. Today we made 30 ticks in crude oil. I had 1 break-even trade and 1 30-tick trade, and 10 ticks in gold. I had 1 10-tick trade in gold. Today it took 25 minutes and 2 trades to get to the goal for the day. It wasn't really 25 minutes, it was 20 minutes. And I missed a bunch of trades right at the beginning. But we were up $100 a contract at that time. And we took a total of 3 trades. So on the month right now, we're at $1,667. That's over 6 trading days, averaging $277 per day. On the year, we're now at $32,002. That's over 84 trading days, averaging $380 per contract per day. Now, if you're adding 1 contract per month, you know, you earned your way to 1 contract per month. Where this month, I earned my way to 7 more. But if you were adding 1 contract per month, this is where you'd be at if you did everything exactly the same as I did. Okay, you would have to be doing everything exactly the same as I do. Now, the chances of that happening are like slim. You should actually be doing better than that because I miss a bunch of trades, as you just saw. All right, now if you have not taken a free trial with us and you want to take a free trial with us, go to the homepage at CFRN.net. Right here it says free 5-day trial. Click on that and you'll be brought to this page, eminitrainingschool.com. On this page, all we ask for is your name, your email, your phone number. You can fill this out if you want to. Hit the send button and you will be sent a confirmation link. You must click on the confirmation link. Okay. If you don't click the confirmation link, we don't know that you took the free trial. Okay. All right. And with that, we can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Dwayne, if you are ready.
I am. Let me just finish typing this real quick.
I was going to say, Michael, you're looking good after your haircut.
Thank you. Thank you, Jada thinks I am. I did. We all got haircuts yesterday.
I forgot
Rob and
to say anything this morning.
Yeah, I know. Oh, Jake loves his. You know, and I don't know if you heard him yesterday. Oh no, it was when I was in a meeting with Dennis. I said Jake wants to get an actual hairdo, and he said, "Dad, it's a hairstyle. Don't make me sound gay." Sorry. And she actually did it. He did it after some movie star. I forgot who it is. Some young guy. And she did a nice job. She did a nice job on him, and he was really happy with it. And Macy got her haircut, and I got my haircut, and Jada didn't do anything. So, but it was good. Robin got to come over and hang out with us for a little while. Meet our dog and a couple of cats, the ones that would come out. I don't know where they go. You know, the cats. When somebody new comes, there's like one that will always come out. Maybe two, really. Tango and Lily. But the other ones, I don't know where they go. They just hide.
Okay, you got my charts?
Yep, I see
got
'em.
my screen? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Screen.
Excuse me. Recap of the recap.
Today it took 25 minutes, sorry, and 2 trades to get to $100 per contract.
Good job.
Yes, consistent green. That's what
job
you
indeed.
want. I think-
Okay, as I just mentioned, I did speak to John, and he got his system up and running, so I told him to just pop in whenever he was ready. And so until he pops in, we will go through the alerts. If you were in the live training room this morning, you had an opportunity to see some of the alerts that were issued last night, but we'll go through them all. In fact, I'm going to put up on the screen first the Concierge Trade Alerts from last night. If you would like to grab a screenshot of those, you can do that just as soon as I get them up there. There we go. So last night the alerts got out at 8:10 p.m. Eastern. I try to get them out shortly after the Globex Open each evening, which on any given day is usually between 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern. I try to get it to as close to the open as I can as time permits. And we cover the same markets each night. Now this set of alerts, this is based on historical price action. The Logic 247 alerts, which I'll show you in a bit, those are based on current price action. Now either one of them can be traded standalone, but when you have both of them pointing at the same important price, important area, it's like when the planets align or something. It's a special event, and it's when you really want to stop, take a closer look, go to your chart. And you should never trade an alert just because it's an alert, because our goal is to teach you how to find these alerts on your own. The goal is that at some point you don't even need us anymore. So always go to a chart and understand why there's an alert at that price. And if you are just starting with us, just beginning to learn, and you see an alert, you look at the chart, doesn't really speak to you, then that's when you go to the discussion group in Telegram and ask a question. I'll answer, Michael will answer, Valerie will answer, or one of our other traders who's been with us a while, because everybody gets taught the same method, the same strategy. So many of our traders are perfectly qualified to answer the questions that any new person might have. Okay, so let's bring up a S&P chart. Now for me, the default chart is the 30-minute. For Michael, it's the range chart. The reason we use that fast-paced range chart in the morning is, well, there's a number of reasons, but one in particular is it gives Michael an opportunity to show you the trade setup multiple times during the course of the 2-hour session. A larger time frame, you might only get to see one example or maybe 2 examples each day. Some days you might not even might not even get one. So it's the same method, the core strategy, what Michael does and what we do with the alerts, same thing, only difference is the amount of risk involved, the time frame, of course, and the rules of engagement are slightly different, okay? But all of our members have access to unlimited one-on-one mentoring. So as you're learning the methodology and the strategy, sometimes new people will book 2 sessions a week in the beginning, and then maybe it falls off to 1 a week and then 1 every other week. The important thing is that whenever you hit a rough patch, when things aren't going as planned, and you don't understand why, you book a session with me, with Michael, with both of us if you want to. We get together in a go-to meeting environment. I open up your mic so that we can just talk to one another. You don't have to type in your questions. And we go through that rough patch step by step, trade by trade, so that you gain an understanding of why things didn't work out as planned. It's all very logical. It's all based on sound reasoning. Getting stopped out is never fun, but when you understand why you were stopped out, that takes a lot of the sting out of it, and you can then look at, if it's an unprofitable trade, whatever you're down based on that trade, you can consider that the cost of the lesson that you just learned. If you get stopped out and you don't know why you got stopped out, well, you're still out the money and you haven't learned anything. So you will get stopped out. I know there's websites out there that, promise, or some of them just come out, we've cracked the code, we've uncovered the secret, markets will never be the same, this is the secret your broker doesn't want you to know, all that crazy ad copy. And, well, the truth about trading is you will get stopped out. When God created Adam, he did not give Adam the ability to change the past or to know the future. And those two things are inextricably linked for eternity. So when somebody tells you that they somehow have figured out a way to read tomorrow's headlines today, that's always a clever bit of ad copy. Well, they're not just stretching the truth. They're stapling and they're mutilating the truth. It's just not true. That's enough said. Last night's alert, if you grabbed your screenshot, consider being long 2903 on the S&P. So from 2903, we initially put in a swing high at 2906 and a quarter. So that's 3 1/4 points. That's a fine day right there. But important prices, important areas are almost always tested. Now, if you've ever subscribed to any other kind of an alert service, probably you were looking for, one trigger per alert, and then it was on to the next alert. Because of the methodology that I use to arrive at these alert prices, we expect our alerts to trigger multiple times over the course of the session. Remember, each one of these candles is 30 minutes. So from 2903, we went up to 2906 and a quarter. We then got back below the trigger, triggered again, and this time price put in a swing high up at 29.23. That's a 20-point move at $50 a point, or $1,000 per contract traded. However, getting out at a swing high or a swing low is very difficult to do. Sometimes it happens by accident, because no one knows it's a swing high or a swing low until after the fact. What we do have is called an exit signal. So basically your job is to enter the trade, and on an extended move, patiently wait for this little black step line. You'll notice as the market was climbing, the step line was on the left side of blue and climbing. This is called, the technical term is CFMA1. I just call it blue and climbing, red and falling, because that's very descriptive. So the step line, as we're climbing, is on the left side of blue and climbing. And then it crosses over, and now it's on the right side. Here's the left, here's the right side. What we're looking for, once the step line crosses over, we're looking for the first red candle on a long trade, the first red candle that closes below the step line. So this candle had a closing price of $29.12.75. So from 29.03 to 29.12, that's a 9-point move at $50 per point. That's $450 per contract traded. So yes, getting out at the swing high would have been much better, but it's kind of tough for the reason I just explained. But I don't know of any trader that would complain about taking $450 out of a trade in the S&P. Now, important prices, important areas, almost always tested. So price comes back to the trigger, gets below the trigger, and in this case, and I wrote about this last night in the discussion group, this is sort of a perfect storm. When price pulls back to the BBC, we expect it to be good support till it isn't. When price pulls back to a weekly trading zone, we expect that to be good support until it isn't. Now, these zones are issued to the members Monday morning, 6:15 a.m. Eastern. We've published the zones each week since December 14th of 2009. On this trigger, okay, we had the support of blue and climbing. On this trigger, there's a different dynamic in play. Instead of having the support of blue and climbing, on this trigger, you're running into red and falling. Blue and climbing bullish, red and falling bearish. Does that mean you shouldn't take this trade? It depends on how much room to run that you have. In other words, from the trigger to wherever at that point in time the red and falling is located. Let's say it was at, we'll say 29.10. Okay, so from 29.03 to 29.10, where you anticipate finding resistance, that's 7 points of room to run at $50 a point. That's $350 per contract traded. So yes, even though there's red and falling, there's enough room to make it worth your trouble. There's enough room to run to make it worth the risk, because this particular trade required very little risk. And I don't know if Valerie sent you guys an email yet or not, but those who participated in today's open house, if you choose to become a CFRN passport holder today, then Sunday afternoon before the markets open, I'm going to do a mastermind class, as they call them. This will be just for those who participated in the open house today and decided to become a passport holder today. We're going to do about a 45-minute webinar Sunday afternoon where I'm going to walk you through that 3-step methodology. I'm going to teach it to you so that you always know where to put your stop loss based on market structure, not based on a fixed number or a ratio or a percentage. I'm going to teach you how to read the chart and know exactly where the chart tells you the stop should go. Now, if that stop is more than $300 per contract, if the risk requires, if the stop loss requires you to risk more than $300 per contract, we're going to pass. We'll wait for it to trigger a second time or a third time where the risk profile is what we're looking for, $300 or less. Or we'll look at a different alert, a different market, until we find the opportunity that fits our parameters. When you have a definable edge in the market and you build trading rules around your definable edge, then you have put the probabilities in your favor. Now, I don't like gambling analogies very much, but if you've ever wondered why Vegas wins all the time, I mean, they let you win some, but by the end of the weekend, in most cases, Vegas wins. Why is that? It's very simple. They created the rules to the game. The house has the edge. So it's no problem to them if you win a few hands or 10 hands or 20 hands. They know, because of the way they created the rules, that over the larger sample size, they're going to come out ahead. That's how they're able to build the big fancy hotels, you know, with all the free adult beverages you can drink and all that kind of stuff, because they have the edge. And in trading, you are going to do the same thing, except instead of being the gambler, you're going to be the house. You're going to define the rules. We've defined the rules for our setup, so you can, you know, spend a lot of time and a lot of money trying to figure it out for yourself, reinvent the wheel, or you can use our methodology, our strategy. Michael and I have spent 15 years trying to make trading simple. It's not easy, never has been, never will be, but it can be simple as what I'm showing you right here. So price pulls back to the trigger, triggers again. This time it puts in a swing high way up at 29.15. So that's a 12-point move. Price then gets back below the trigger again right here. And from 29.03, it puts in a swing high at 29.18. So that's a 15-point move at $50 a point. Price gets back below the trigger, triggers again. This time it rallies up to 29.12. That's 9 points at $50 a point. Price gets back below the trigger, and it's still rallying, and so far the swing high is 29.17. So that's 14 points at $50 a point. So we had, on this one alert, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 alerts so far. Okay. Now, we have one more weekly trading zone overhead, and it's way up there at 3024/25. I dare say we most likely won't see that today. However, if we finish strong today, when the Globex markets open Sunday night and the alerts start flowing to you in the Telegram channel, in the private Telegram channel, it's very possible the markets will make a run at that number. We just have to wait and see. It's a higher probability that we'll get another trigger today here. That's a higher probability than us rallying all the way up to 3024, which is like 100 points away. That's 1,000 Dow points. I guess the curbs would kick in before that happened. Now, as we're moving up, well, gosh, this is awesome. Where do I take my profit? Well, you need an extended move to get an exit signal like this. So what you're looking at right now is you're looking for potential obstacles. Here's an obstacle right there. Why is that an obstacle? Okay, buyers came in here on this 30-minute candle. They rallied this thing all the way up to here. Okay, now that was news driven. 8:30 this morning, we had employment numbers. This candle opened at 29.04, put in a high at 29.18. That was a 14-point candle. However, when price got to 29.18, sellers took the ball and carried it back down the field and closed the 30-minute candle right there. That creates an obstacle. As price pulls up to this area, we expect that to be good resistance until it isn't. If price can get through that area, and we expect that to be a potential obstacle or resistance. So price has to get through here, and there's a small window of opportunity from like 29.20 to 29.22. There's like 2-point opportunity there. If we get above this, well, now we've got to look further back to find the areas where we will have potential resistance. So when I say the concierge alerts are based on historical price action, that means I'm looking way back. And the Logic 247 alerts based on current price action, I'm talking about what's happening right here, right now, in the moment. And when those two are both pointing a finger at the same important price, important area, that's really the best opportunities that you're going to have via our strategy. Okay, so that's the S&P. On the Dow, last night's alert was to be long 24055. We got an exit signal at 24,124. So from 50 to 10, it's about a 75-point move. We'll call it 70 at $5 a point. That's $350 per contract traded. Now, once you've earned the right to trade multiple contracts, 10 as a round number, this same move that pays $350 for one contract, that's from the published entry to the exit signal that printed on your chart right in front of your eyes, okay? That's $350 per contract. Once you've earned the right to trade 10 contracts, that becomes a $3,500 move. It's very important that you earn the right to trade the number of contracts that you're trading. You start out in sim. We want you to become consistently profitable in the simulator before you put your hard-earned real money to work. We want you to put together 10 consecutive days in a row where you reach your goal in 10 trades or less. And the blueprint will give you the green light to go live with one contract. Your goal then is to increase your account balance by $2,000 with one contract. Once you accomplish that, the blueprint will give you the green light to add a second contract. That's a big day for you because the first contract you went live with, that money had to come from your savings, under your mattress, wherever you get your money. But the second contract, you're adding that with profit you earned in the market. That's a sign that you are on your way to building a successful trading business, because you're now adding contracts with profit earned in the market. Almost everyone who's ever taken a stab at this thing called trading has blown up an account or two or three or more. It doesn't have to happen, but it can happen. It does happen if you adhere to the rules of engagement as spelled out in the blueprint. I don't want to say you can't still blow up an account, because you can, but you got to go against the grain an awful lot. You got to break rules that you clearly know you shouldn't break. So following the rules makes it much more difficult to blow up an account. But again, it can happen. This is why we are very strict in regards to aggressive risk management. Every trade must have a hard stop loss, and you never want to risk more than the potential profit that you can clearly see on your chart. Now, you hear a lot about risk-reward ratio. Well, only one part of that equation is a known entity. That's the amount of risk that you put on a trade. The reward part, that's unknown. I mean, you can look at a chart and go, okay, the distance from here to the next weekly trading zone overhead is, well, let's say you entered at 24,200. Okay, that's 105 points of potential profit. But we don't want to risk more than $300 per contract per trade. So the Dow pays $5 a point, so you just take 300 divided by 5, 60 points. The S&P pays $50 a point, so the maximum you want to risk there would be 6 points. And you can do the math for each one of the markets. Now that business about important prices, important areas, well, you see it here in action again. Price gets back below the trigger, rallies up. Now you're encountering that same thing that we looked at on the ES. When you triggered over here, you had blue and climbing to support the trade. Over here, you did have some room to run, but you knew that you were going long into potential resistance. So that's one where you might just say, I think I'll pass. And then over here, as you trigger again and again and again, once price gets above the BBC, the green line, and you have the support of blue and climbing, well, now's the time to be long. And you could do it on this candle here with minimal risk. Okay, so that's the Dow. Let's go to the Russell. Last night's alert for the Russell was to be long 1303. From 1303, we put in a swing high at 1310.80. So that's 7.8. We'll just call it 7 at $50 a point. That's $350 per contract traded. Price then pulls back to the BBC. Remember, price always reverts to the mean. And then we trigger again and have a little pullback to the BBC, and then we trigger again, and we get a nice little run up, and price is trying to get to the weekly trading zone overhead. Price is always trying to get to a weekly trading zone. From the moment the markets open Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern till Friday afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern, price is on a mission. If it's above the BBC, it's trying to get to the zone overhead. And when it's below the BBC, it's trying to get to the zone below. And then when it gets back above, it's trying to get to the zone overhead. And when it gets back below, it's trying to get to the zone below. Does it always reach its final destination? It does not. For all we know, this could be the high of the day right here. Or price may continue to work its way up to that zone, which we expect to be good resistance until proven otherwise. And John just jingled my phone, so let me open up. Now, Brad, I see your question, and I see Valerie's giving you an answer. I'll revisit the question here in a moment. Let me just get John's mic open. Okay. Hey, John, welcome to the show.
Hello?
Hey, welcome to the show, John.
Oh, great. It's working today. That's good.
Yeah, we missed you yesterday. Glad to have you with us.
Yeah, no, likewise. It's good to be here. Actually, we just got a sell on the S&P a few minutes ago on the NASDAQ. You know, I don't know whether this is a big sell or just a little pullback, but
it looks like just a
we're-
pullback here. I'm looking for it to pull back to about 29.10. I think we'll find some support there and make another run.
Yeah, a couple of days ago, I think I said it was be a little bit careful, and there was a pullback, but as you know, we've kind of gone up during the night. It just seems to be a feature of this market. It seems to come back during the night, and that's a little bit like what happened when we were making the all-time highs before the crash. If you remember, you know, we'd have these corrections, and then, you know, the next thing you know, they used to go up at night, and it's basically the same sort of thing. I mean, we potentially got a, you know, a fairly strong buy signal that just might push the market a bit higher next week. You know, if we came in higher on Monday, I'd sort of look for a possible downturn and be ready to sell. And you know, there's a possibility we could sell. There's a possibility we could sell off this afternoon. You know.
Right.
So
Do you need to get that call?
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. There's a couple. I mean, as I said to you a couple of days ago, there's some stocks that are just going absolutely bonkers. One of them, I actually got the word on this, and unfortunately, because I was sick, I wasn't able to take advantage of it. TWLO.
I'll bring that up.
It was right in the 120s or somewhere, and it gapped up about $30 or something. Just trend incredible.
Well, that's that Twilio. It's some kind of a messaging client or something.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of advertising of late on it.
Yeah. Anyway, the revenues are crazy, $1 billion, but they're losing a lot of money. They're losing more and more money every quarter. So, you know, it's going to be interesting to see if they go positive. The other, I think I mentioned Enphase the other day, ENPH.
go.
That's on the point of making all-time record highs. It's looking very, very bullish.
Yes,
I actually got some people into that. You know, I told them be ready to buy on the earnings. It's kind of unusual because it kind of turned down before the earnings and then came out and has been going up ever since. Then there's TTD, but TTD had a good run, but it's coming down today, I believe.
TTD, the trade desk. Okay.
Yeah, see that doji yesterday? How about that? Look at that.
Yep.
I tell you what, anytime you see a doji like that, and if you're long, you just might as well take the profit and get out because. So look at the previous time there was a doji and the stock pulled back.
Right there.
See that back in middle of April.
In February, come out in February here on this one.
Well, that one as well. That was a beauty. And then look at the doji down the bottom before the big rally, before the second crash. I mean, it's just, so often that's happened with gold and other things. I've looked at Beyond today, BYND.
BYND, okay.
Yeah, I mean, well, remember we called that originally at sort of that 80 level, and we got that first run up.
Yep.
Then we had the crash that took it down to new lows, and really it's been a pretty impressive performer since the crash lows. And obviously this meat thing is a pretty big deal. Now, I don't believe that the world's gonna switch to Beyond Meat just because there's a meat shortage. So I'd be looking to short this stock. Not necessarily today or tomorrow, but or next week, but at some point it may pull back rather sharply as soon as this meat situation is ameliorated.
Right.
So because I think there's an awful lot of hype built into this thing, and it might actually be a really good trade.
I finally had one of the burgers at Burger King. I'm not sure if it's Beyond Meat or the other company that Burger King uses, but I wasn't impressed.
Right.
I could definitely tell the difference in the taste. Some people say they can't, but I could.
Yeah. Oh, let's have a look at the transports, Dwayne. I haven't seen how that's been acting for a while.
Dow Transports. There we go.
It's up today.
Well,
but,
I mean, we've got a little bit of a,
Is that live or is that delayed?
Looks to me like it's live, John.
Because I'm showing up 200 today, 223 on the Chinese. So.
Normally it will tell me if I'm on a delayed chart. So I can't say for sure. Let's see if I can make that go away.
Yeah, it looks.
Yeah. Let me put it on a different time frame. Oh, it won't let me go lower than a daily. So yeah, I think it must be delayed, John.
Yeah.
Because see, I can't go to a 5 minute or anything.
It is turning up.
Now that's a weekly chart. That looks a little bearish.
Yeah. Can you put up JPM?
Okay, well.
Yeah, these banking stocks, they're. I guess the banks are in all kinds of trouble because of the defaults and everything. So even though they're going to make a lot of money out of the, facilitating the bailouts, possibly could rescue them from a really big problem, but it's not getting reflected in the stock at the moment. And I really think it's time to be super careful of this market because we're into the second week of May next week. I think the middle of May could be a problem, or even towards the last week of May. Market could run into trouble, and the downturn could be rather dramatic. Actually, I think there's so much there's so much incredible performance built into this up move that is wildly bullish, on the future. You can never say never, but the losses, the job losses, are so staggering. It's hard to contemplate that you're just gonna wave a magic wand and everything's gonna go back to normal.
Well, see, that's my concern. I mean, the situation that the world and the economy is in, and to see these markets trading, or the indices, I mean, we're not. Now, let me bring up a daily chart of the S&P and just kind of makes the point. Let me get rid of some of the clutter. For an economy that just lost, and has lost however many jobs and all the things that have happened, I mean, this is a 62% reverse fib. I mean, we've recovered more than half of what was lost, and the problem isn't fixed yet.
It's likely to get worse, because a lot of things might...
Yes, the real world does not support the markets that we're seeing. And I think when the world wakes up to that fact, this thing could fall hard and fast.
I'm not too keen on this. I mean, when I said I'm seeing a sell signal earlier on, I wish if I come on 5 or 10 minutes early, I could have called it right on the nose. Because I got a bit of a pre sense that it's going to turn down. Usually on a strong day like today, they do have a pullback, between 1 and 2 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern, and then you can maybe get a rally into the close. I wouldn't rule that out, but just the way it's starting to probe the downside, I think you've got to be prepared for
a pullback to 29.10 and
a few downside surprises. And remember, the market's basically been anticipating the reopening of the economy, and as it sort of becomes a reality, it is a little bit of a buy the rumor, sell the fact deal.
Did you hear about the woman in Texas, the one that got put in jail because she opened her salon? Some people opened up a GoFundMe account for her.
Yeah.
And in one day, people gave $500,000.
I know, it's only in America. Isn't it incredible?
That is incredible.
I mean, I'm not too keen on the fact that they did that for McCabe and Comey as well, to like 4 times as much potentially, especially after what we found out in the last few days.
Well, what do you think's behind? What's the real motivation behind this thing with Flynn?
Well, it's like you and I said. I mean, remember I said it's rotten to the core.
Oh yeah.
The whole thing, it's rotten to the core. It's beyond rotten to the core. And you know what? The head honcho is Obama. It's been the case all along. That's why there's been all this cover up, because everybody knows it's him, and it's just absolutely dastardly. And so, I mean, you've got such a proud tradition of all these presidents in the past, and this guy has been, literally, treasonous in terms of trying to overthrow a legitimate election. It's just diabolical. It's hard to fathom, to tell you the truth. And I mean, why do you think Comey and all these guys did what they did? Because they were under orders. They were. It's almost like Nazi Germany. I was following orders. That's basically what it's all about.
Right.
Remember I said to you that fella. I mean, this convicted felon who was the guy who started disrupting the Trump rallies, and he visited the White House 387 times in like 4 years. Do you think there wasn't something going on, like, planning for this whole thing? I mean, remember, they had 17 candidates, Republicans, so they were doing everything in their power to stop the Republicans from winning, period, And Trump, because he became the front runner, basically it all piled up on him, and it's just unbelievable. I mean, it's almost embarrassing to people look up to America, especially somebody like me who came from the other side of the pond. You look up to America for especially when you've been in Ireland. I mean, America was seen like, sort of promised land and the land of righteousness. They prosecuted World War I, World War II, saved the world numerous times. And then this skullduggery is going on. It's just mind-boggling, frankly. It's disgusting. I mean, there's just zero confidence. How can you have any confidence in these law enforcement agencies after all this stuff going on? And it's just terrible.
It really is. And, I guess there's going to be some kind of documents released today or in coming days that I heard Trump talking just a little bit this morning. And he said he's very excited and it's going to really open a lot of eyes and show who's behind a whole lot of this.
Look, the whole story at the end of the day, I mean, look, they should be let out in chains. I mean, if this was the 15th century in London, you know where they'd be. You remember those things where you put your arms in and you put your head
stocks.
in?
They call them stocks, I think, interestingly.
It's just terrible. It really is. It's hard. It's just mind-boggling, the whole thing. The evil that went on, and obviously the money, the rip-offs that's been going on for this. It's just it's terrible.
And Biden is still yet to choose a running mate. He says it's going to be a woman. He says he wants somebody younger than him. So
well, good luck to him, because
how much younger is
female vice presidents don't have a very good record in U.S. politics. So
how old is Hillary?
70 something.
Okay,
I think.
So, well, whoever he chooses. I mean, I still don't think, especially with these new things coming out. I mean, reversing their decision on Flynn. I mean, that's huge. All the Russia stuff and the collusion and this.
Well,
and that.
Listen, how long we said it from? We've been 100% right on this show from day one, Dwayne, you and me, from the day we picked Trump to win. Against all odds, we nailed it, and ever since then, it's just been I mean, I told you that they got those names out of the Russian military roster or something. I mean, these people are just to pad up their indictments. I mean, the whole thing is just rotten to the core. And these prosecutors in the Mueller thing, they should be in jail as well. They're just the worst of the worst.
What an incredible waste of time and taxpayer money that was.
Oh, but I mean, it's just like to foist this thing on the American people for 3 years and all these lies and concocting this gigantic hoax. It's just incredible. Absolutely incredible. It actually kind of makes Trump look pretty heroic, frankly. The more this stuff comes out, I mean, people are going to start saying, this guy really didn't deserve this.
Right.
I think he could get a big sympathy vote from it.
But yet, if you flip over to the other channel, they're trying to rewrite history as it happens.
The gall of them all, and the same thing with these tweets and everything that these people put out. Self-righteous nonsense, just terrible.
And the accusations of how he bungled and mishandled this whole coronavirus thing. I think he did a pretty good job. And then the blatant lie about how he told people that they should go home and inject themselves with sanitizer. That's just so... He didn't say that.
I know.
He was just kind of, thinking out loud, just, trying to get a point across. And they're going to take that and they're going to run with it. And it really is. It's an embarrassment. It is. It's an embarrassment.
Dwayne, you know, the other thing is, look, the way the market's starting to sell off right now. I mean, you know, the news is bad today anyway you cut it, and the fact that the market's rallying on this bad news is, and then now maybe it's starting to turn. I mean, if we go down, if we go negative today, I would consider that to be pretty. We've had a few days where we've closed negative and then we've come up during the night. Maybe there'll be one more time of that, but it looks like the writing's on the wall for this market.
If we don't find support at 29.10 in today's session, then I think we would find support at 29.03, and then if we don't hold, if we were to drop to 2900 and not hold there, if we take out this swing low, then that would be very troublesome and worrisome for the Sunday night Globex Open.
Starting to accelerate down now, and
Yeah.
look, I got a sell, even on that Twido, I got a sell signal on that 182. It's down to 179 already, you know. And Apple is actually Apple's giving me quite a nasty looking sell signal here, right up about 308. And Roku, you know, I was thinking this morning,
Here's
is Roku.
Apple on the daily. Oh, that's weekly. I put it on daily.
Yeah, I mean, remember, it's right up into that. Well, remember we said the gap. It's right up into that gap. A little bit of a doji yesterday. You know, I mean, that, you know, the day's not over yet. If that thing goes red, if today's bar goes red, that could be a problem. It also looks as if the trading is very thin in the last week or so. And check out Roku, Dwayne, ROKU.
There we go.
It's kind of a green candle today, but look, see that huge red candle on Roku? Roku led the way down. That was the death knell of the market that day, the day that Roku turned down. And it went down a lot. And
That
I
was
think
February 20th, and on the S&P, our hallmark day was February 27th, where we got our bearish cross.
no, but I mean,
on
but
the
look at the
20th.
top. What was the actual top? What was the top? That reverse doji. That was the night. No, just go a bit to the right. That one. No, just back a bit.
This one?
That one, yeah. So it was the same day, February 20th. Yeah.
Yeah, February 20th.
You remember that was the night that the Nasdaq kind of went crazy into about 10 o'clock in the evening, and then it just turned to jelly, and that was the end of it, right down to the bottom. So, and you know, obviously, I mean, we may make a double top against this S&P from last week, still maybe, but
Right here.
you know, any kind of a downside failure from here, I think is going to have a tough time staying up. You know.
Yeah, if price runs into trouble here, pulls back to the BBC, and if the BBC doesn't hold as good support, then we're looking at a drop down to right where our bullish cross took place at about 26.20. If that can't hold, then we're looking at about 24.60. And if that doesn't hold, then it's back to challenge the lows.
Yeah, and you know, we've got to get into a kind of a serious downtrend to really kind of scare the longs. So you know, this could be prolonged a bit, somewhat still. But you know, the crude might run into trouble again. That could drag the market down. The airline stocks, and you know, the Nasdaq. I mean, we were up we're really losing a lot of ground on the Nasdaq right now. If we go negative today.
Here's the NQ. We're at support on the NQ on our 30-minute chart. So if this doesn't hold, then we would look for the alert price last night, 91.70. We'd look for that to potentially be support. But I think we're at support right here, and we've got 1 minute left in this 30-minute candle. There's our new candle right on top of blue and climbing. So I look for the NQ to rally from here, and I look for the S&P to rally from here.
Yeah.
Now, the rally could be short-lived because we've got resistance overhead at 29.17.
Today's low is a kind of critical. Listen, that weekly trading zone, that's as good a reference there as, you know, that's, I think if that goes, you got a problem.
Yeah, if that gives way and we take out this swing low that came off the Wall Street open this morning, then, there's a long way to fall. No doubt. The next zone below that is 56.
Could catch people by surprise. You know, it could. That's the whole problem with you get so kind of conditioned. Maybe we put up the LABU. Even that's coming off too, going with all these stocks.
LABU. There we go. All right.
Yeah, it's not too inspiring, that particular chart. If it goes negative today, and
there was a question from Brad in the audience. He says, "John, did you do any buying in April?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you go back and look at, we record the show every day, so you can go back and you can watch any day through April, and you'll hear whatever suggestions, recommendations were made on a daily basis.
No, we called quite a few good moves in April. The Roku was one of them, actually, and Apple. If you remember, I went Twitter. Twitter was one. Remember, I said to be on Twitter.
Twitter. Yeah, Twitter out of April had a leg and a retracement, a leg and a retracement, and now we're building a green candle, looking to go back and challenge this high. And if we can do that, then the next resistance is there's plenty of room to run on the upside.
Yeah. If I was running Twitter, if I could come in and run Twitter this afternoon, I'd fire about half the employees right away, because I think this company's being run as a kind of a charity employment operation.
Really? In what way?
Well, there's far too many employees in Twitter, and all they do is harass Republican, supporters, people who are basically have made Twitter, including Trump. And they're just suspending people and carrying on. It's just an absolute disgrace.
It's a software. It's software now that it's built and functional. I realize you got to have developers and engineers around to make sure things keep running smoothly, but it wouldn't seem that you would need that many employees.
You could do to Twitter that would just electrify. People are frustrated because there's so many restrictions, and people get suspended for no reason. I mean, some guy spent 3 years building up 500,000 followers, and he gets suspended because he mentioned something about somebody. It's just insane. There's no right of appeal or anything like that. It's almost like a
Have you seen the video by that lady scientist? It's a video that keeps getting taken down.
I mean, about Fauci? Yeah, I was in the
where
middle
she exposes Fauci.
Actually, Dwayne, I was actually watching it when they yanked it. Can you believe it?
Well, I have a copy of it. So I'll send it to you if you want it.
Yeah, thanks. No, this is. I mean, look, these people are starting to get exposed. In a big way, as usual. I don't understand why that guy from the CDC is still there. I mean, give me a break. It's such a. I mean, some of these people. Look, I just don't understand how people are not getting the memo on the hydroxy. And you heard it here first. I'm the only guy I know who ever mentions Xofluza as a possible treatment for the COVID, and it turns out that it saved somebody's life. So, it's troubling. And this Avigan, this whole thing with China, and nobody's paying any attention. We got people dying every day, and there's a sort of like no urgency to get something into people's hands that is going to save their life. It just is despicable. I'm telling you, it's very, very troubling to me. Because anything's better than dying, don't you think? I mean, like
Yes.
anything that would possibly can extend your life or save your life, you should have a right to use. And this Avigan is definitely. I mean, the Chinese, after all they've been through, whether it's 4 million cases and 200,000 deaths, and their number one treatment for listen, there's only one treatment. It's called Avigan. That's it. It's not HCQ or anything else in China. It's Avigan. I think, what does that tell you?
Check out this chart, John.
And by the way, are there any new infections in China lately? Zero. Okay.
Really?
So, yeah,
Zero.
it's crazy.
In Arizona, there have been 275 COVID-19 deaths. In 2018, this is the most recent year that we have statistics for, there were 1,116 deaths due to the flu.
Yeah.
And this walks you through the only states that show a disparity would be, I guess, Delaware. I'm not even sure why, but Florida. Okay, those numbers are highlighted, but and New York. I mean, that's an astronomical number. That's a big difference. But I think the point of this chart is, by and large, and I don't mean to make light of this COVID-19. This is a horrible thing. Lives have been lost. There's, it's a very, very bad thing. But is it worse? And I don't mean individually, but I mean from the big picture. Is it worse than the statistics that we see every year, from the flu? I don't know the answer, but it's certainly a question worth asking. So.
Look, there's two aspects to this thing. There's the that's like 70% of Mecca is supposed to be infected with this. The problem is there's a lot of countries in the world that are still going up, and I was hoping to show people on the show that there was a title a few days ago where it showed is that somebody's birthday?
That's my son. Yep, he turns
Yeah,
18 today.
congratulations. That's great. Happy birthday.
Yep, he first came to live with us when he was 4 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, time flies, man.
Saudi Arabia. I was going to show you this thing from the UK, from the Daily Mail. Unfortunately, I Googled it yesterday and it doesn't seem to be available. It was a headline called "The Sick Man of Europe," i.e., UK. One of the reasons why the UK is a hotspot, or has become the sick man of Europe, overtaken Italy and everybody, is because it's still the hub of the world, and you got all these people flying into Heathrow. Apparently 18 million people came into the UK in the 3 months before the thing, and there's 100,000 people a week coming into the country right now. So it's sort of out of control over there, and it's the same thing with New York. New York's the crossroads of the world, and they've been the receiving end of all these people coming from all over the world, infected, and they got a huge problem. But the good news is perhaps many more people than we think are hardly in any way affected by this virus. Unfortunately, it does attack. It is highly contagious. That's really the biggest scary thing about the thing. But the death rate is, while it's alarming, to say the least, is relatively relatively low compared to the flu and certainly compared to the Spanish flu and some of these other pandemics that have been around.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's, but I think, with the benefit of hindsight, I think they should have said to the people, instead of bashing Trump for saying one thing or another, he should have really got a few doctors and they should have stood up and said, look, take vitamin D, okay? Vitamin D could save your life.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what's coming out right now.
Mm-hmm.
We know about washing the hands and all that kind of thing. Perhaps if Avigan or, even a hydroxy. Look, there's no question that hydroxy, if it's taken soon enough, can probably save your life. It looks like this Sofluza is the same. I mean, this is something the FDA approved for flu. It's actually a breakthrough because it's the first time this shortens the life of the flu. If you take it, it's a one-dose treatment, and as soon as you get the symptoms, you take Sofluza. For God's sake, it could have saved tens of thousands of lives with this thing, and nobody thought about it. Anything that would, ameliorate the symptoms or stop this. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about this thing getting in your lungs. If you can stop it getting in your lungs, because once it gets in the lungs, it starts to, debilitate the lung capacity. And once that happens, you're half dead already. A friend of mine called me yesterday, a very famous guy, possibly one of the healthiest guys in the universe. He spends two hours a day in a hyperbaric. He's a fanatic, He spends about 2 or 3 hours a day, or even 4 hours a day in a hyperbaric chamber.
Wow.
He's got one in his house, and he's trying to get me to get one.
Michael Jackson had one.
Sorry?
Michael Jackson had one.
Yeah. By the way, where Michael Jackson used to be our neighbor in Kinsale. How about that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. He, Michael Flatley. He had a house just above ours, up on the hill. Beautiful
Michael
mansion.
Flatley, is that the Lord of the Dance guy?
The dancer. Yeah,
dancer.
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. And he put Michael Jackson up for a couple of years in little old Kinsale, County Cork, Ireland. How about that?
Isn't that something?
Yeah,
That was a great place. I loved being there. Love to go back someday and visit
it's
again.
An awesome place. It's an awesome place. It's just terrific. God's country.
Amen.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to cover?
No, listen, have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks very much for
Thank you,
letting
John.
me on. Okay,
We appreciate
all the
it.
best.
Have a
Bye-bye.
great weekend. Stay well. Okay, guys, we're looking at the NQ. The trigger, or the alert last night was to be long 91.70. The swing high took us up 65 points, or $1,300 per contract traded. Prior to the swing high, though, we had an exit signal, print right there, 92.03. So that's 33 points, $20 a point. We'll call it $600 per contract traded. This pullback to the BBC didn't quite make it all the way back to the trigger, but that's okay because we don't need it to. We simply trade the setup. Price pulls back to the BBC, finds good support. That's what we expect. And then as price starts to rally, you just want to be long. And then price comes back, this time gets below the trigger, pulls up to the BBC. When we approach the BBC from below, we expect it to be good resistance, and it was. Sent us back down, put us below the trigger again, and this time we rally up another $800 per contract. That's the NQ. I think we've covered all the other ones. The S&P. Now again, on this pullback on the S&P that we were just talking about with John, we expect this to be good support until proven otherwise. Otherwise means that this red candle will continue down, put us below the trigger, and then as long as we don't close below this weekly zone, because If price comes down to a zone, we expect it to be good support until proven otherwise, which would then launch another move to the upside. Price could come down, just get right below the trigger, then start heading up. But you see, where our methodology and strategy differs from so many people, there's a lot of strategies out there that would say, okay, we've pulled back to what we think will be good support, so go long. Why? Why not wait and let the market prove to you that it actually is good support? Well, how do you do that? Well, it's simple. In 15 minutes, we're going to get a new candle. If that candle starts printing green, that's the market saying, yes, I found support, and now I'm going to go and try to move higher. The first obstacle on a move up be right here. Next obstacle on a move up would be right here. And then if we get above this area, then we have to look further back in time to see where our next area of good resistance is going to be. Everything that we do is very logical. We've taken something that man has figured out a way to complicate and convolute and really just, kind of make it difficult for an average person like myself to ever figure out how to even do it. I got to know so much stuff. I got to know the trend. I got to know the tricks. I got to know the advanced decline line. I got to understand stochastics and MACDs and Bollinger Bands and all this stuff. And the truth is, no, you don't. No. When the market finds support and starts to move higher, you go long. When the market finds resistance and starts to move lower, you go short. And I know that for people who have bought a lot of different courses and spent tens of thousands of dollars going to seminars and, trying to learn all this stuff, me saying that probably angers you. That's not true. I know how hard it is because I know how long I've been trying and I know how much money I've spent. Okay, well, the truth is, it doesn't matter how long it's taken and how much money you've spent. That in and of itself doesn't make it hard. That doesn't make it complicated. Now, it's never going to be easy. But if you can turn off the noise that we all have going between our ears and embrace the simplicity of the things I just said, you'll find that while it's not easy, it can indeed be simple. So you see why it would have been, even though we anticipated support there, it would have been foolhardy to put on a long order, because even though we know that the BBC holds a pullback more often than it doesn't, there's no guarantee that it's going to hold this time. So we have to exercise patience and discipline. When the market finds support, we'll see it, we'll know it. Number one, it will stop falling. Number two, it will start climbing. Over here, price stopped falling and it started climbing. Over here, it stopped falling and started climbing. Over here, it stopped falling and then started climbing. And again, all the weekends, all the travel, all the, uncomfortable hotel beds that you had to endure so that you could go to this seminar that was going to change your life for so many thousands of dollars. And you were a bit excited while you were there, surrounded by other traders who were trying to learn how to be consistently profitable. But then you get back home, on Monday, and you start trying to apply some of the stuff that you learned over the weekend. And there was probably just so much that you're not sure you actually got it. And then you start trying to apply it. And the next thing you know, it's not a pretty picture. So that's one way. That's the approach most of us took. Most of us bought course after course, or indicator after indicator, or oscillator after every day somebody news cracked the code, uncovered the secret. There is no code. There is no secret. Markets work a certain way. They move higher until they reach a resistance they can't overcome. They reverse and move lower until they find support that they can't trade below. So they reverse and go look for resistance, and go back and look for support and look for resistance. And then I know people are going to tell you, oh, yeah, dude, this is the 21st century. Hello. You can't trade off support and resistance. That's like horse and buggy. That doesn't work anymore. Haven't you heard? All the cool kids are using algorithms, man. High frequency trading. Co-located servers. Well, if you want to blow a lot of money, there's a million different ways that you can blow a lot of money. Or you can just learn how markets work by calling Valerie at 949-42-EMINI, emailing support@cfrn.net, and we'll do our best to help you. I wish I could tell you that I'm going to make you a consistently profitable trader, but I can't say that. Number one, I don't know how hard you're going to work. I don't know if you're going to actually do the things I teach you how to do. Some people do, some people don't. Some people have a hard time following the simple instructions. I can teach you how to play baseball, but I certainly can't promise you that someday you're going to pitch for the Yankees. It's just not possible. And so people who make you those kind of promises, you got to, if they're lying to you the moment you land on their website, you got to be suspicious. We're transparent. If you go to our website, you'll see that we don't make any promises. What we do, we promise that we'll teach you everything we know about trading Emini Futures. We'll train you. We promise to train you live in real time with a live instructor 2 hours a day, Monday through Friday, from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. Eastern, where you get to interact with the instructor and ask questions. We promise that we'll send you the alerts, the Logic 247, the Concierge Trade Alerts. We promise you unlimited access to one-on-one mentoring with myself, Michael, both of us, often as you need it. Goal being, at some point, you won't need it, because the methodology and the strategy is simple enough that if you apply yourself and just listen up, roll up your sleeves, go to work, trade and sim until you're consistently profitable, you really do have a chance at becoming the 1 out of 10. But again, we don't know what you'll do with the information we teach you. Some people have a hard time letting go of the past. Maybe you've got some indicator. Maybe you got that fancy fib software that I think costs like 20 grand nowadays or something. And you can't let go of that. It's never made you any money, but because you paid so much money for it, and I'm not picking on fibs. I believe in fibs. Fibs are very much a real part of this. It's a fabric of the universe. It's in a flower. It's in our DNA. It's in a pretty girl's face. It's everywhere, right? But what I've not found it to be is a standalone trading strategy. It can be a great complement to a trading strategy. With our methodology, almost because it's baked into the cake, if I draw fibs from this swing low to this swing high, where did price pull back to? The 38% Fibonacci retracement. take a 30-minute chart, take a walk down the street with it, and pull some fibs from swing lows to swing highs. More often than not, you'll find that that pullback to the BBC is often, quite often, almost always, a 38% Fibonacci retracement. So you can layer on additional stuff. Hang on for me 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry, I'm back. Let me see if there's any questions I need to answer. Travis says, I missed the place that John said was God's country, Ireland. I visited his boyhood home in Kinsale, Ireland, a number of years ago. That's what he was referring to as God's country. So, yes, again, you can pay for, all kinds of software to do all kinds of things. And you know what? I don't knock any of that stuff. All the stuff I mentioned before, Bollinger Bands and MACDs and stochastics, I believe that all of those things do exactly what they were created to do. I do. I give them full credit. They do what they were created to do. However, for us to put on a potentially profitable trade, we just don't need those things. We used to have everything. Every indicator ever known to man, we had them. We had them on our screens, Michael and I. When there was nothing left to buy, we started to roll our own. And eventually we realized that no matter how much stuff we added to the chart, it never got us closer to our goal of consistency. It was only when we began to remove things, to the point where we could actually see price again. Doesn't matter what markets you trade, what time frame you trade, the clock on the wall is always price. And our methodology is fluid across all markets, all time frames. We trade gold the same as crude, the same as the S&P, the same as soybeans. Some people say, well, you can't do that. You got to buy this course and these indicators for the agricultural products. And you need this course and these indicators, for the energy products. Sounds to me like somebody that's got a lot of courses and indicators to sell. If you become a passport holder, we don't have any upsells. You're not going to get an email from us in a week about some new incredible discovery we made and how you need to add this to your toolbox. Well, we don't insult people that way. You buy a passport, membership's good for life. Period. End of the story. Let's go to our good word for the day. I've got it right here. And then I got to go set up my son's computer for him. Okay. Today, let's all make a decision to do not necessarily what we want to do, but let's do what pleases God. Or as Psalm 4:5 says, do what is right. Day after day, Potiphar's wife tried to seduce Joseph, but he said no. He gave her no time, no attention, no chit-chat, and no reason for hope. In Genesis 39:10, it says, he did not heed her to lie with her or to be with her. In today's framework, when she called, he didn't answer the phone. When she texted, he didn't text back. When she showed up, he fled and ran outside. Genesis 3912. In a culture that uses phrases like consenting adults and sexual rights, we forget how immorality destroys the lives of people who aren't in the bedroom. Max Lucado writes, "Years ago, a friend gave me this counsel. Make a list of all the lives you would affect by your sexual immorality." So Max Lucado says, I did this, and every so often I reread it. My wife, Denilyn, my 3 daughters, my son-in-law, my yet-to-be-born granddaughter, every person who has ever read one of my books or heard one of my sermons, my publishing team, our church staff, the list reminds me that one act of carnality is a poor exchange for a lifetime of lost legacy. Joseph's primary reason for saying no to Potiphar's wife was God. Genesis 39:9, how can I do this great wickedness and sin against God? The lesson we learn from Joseph is surprisingly simple. Do what pleases God. When your mates show you a way to cheat, you could do that, or you could do what pleases God. When the temptation to watch pornography is great, you can go ahead and watch it. It's everywhere, on your phone, on your tablet, on your PC. Or you could do what pleases God. Well, how can I please God, you ask? Do what is right as a sacrifice to the Lord and trust God. That's our good word for the day. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading Emini Futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with the licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.